It's grand final week, so
Yeah,
so predicted grand final lineups, right, and changes. So obviously McStay out for Collingwood. What have you got?
Yeah, so we'll have a bit more of an in-depth grand final discussion later in the week that you can tune into. But just from an early week look at teams, McStay out with that high-grade MCL sprain, it's a big blow, obviously.
Yeah,
he was really impressive, I thought, in that preliminary final. Didn't have a heap of the ball, but when he won it, he was winning it, contested marks and kicked a couple of goals.
Yeah.
I think he only had 5 touches, but he had 4 marks, 2 contested marks and 2 goals. So
but he's part of their structure too.
That's
for my check.
and that's kind of always been what's been spoken about Dan McStay. He's a role player. As much as he is their leading, probably their best key forward, he's still a role player. And he was playing his role to perfection and was a big reason why they won that game. So he comes out and then really makes this interesting. I'll talk on Taylor Adams in a sec. I don't think he's going to be playing. But who do they bring in for Dan McStay? Do they just go get a forward? Nathan Kruger, Reef McInnes. McInnes probably their most impressive VFL forward this year. Do they go with Billy Frampton, who's been a forward for most of his career, moved to backline at Adelaide last year before getting picked up by Collingwood as a backman, but he's also played forward this year. So they could just throw him straight in. I know he's been training as a forward this week, so that's going to make things interesting just on how well he performs on the track. The other option they get with Frampton is that he can play him back in the back line and allow someone like Jeremy Howe to play forward, or he can be the extra man in defence when the game's late and on the line and they just need some of that rear guard reinforcement. So few options there. I think Frampton's coming in if I'm just predicting the lineup and the changes. So it's just one change. Frampton for McStay, and that means it just doesn't look like Taylor Adams is going to be fit in time. Yeah, I would say that's really cool for him. Certainly deserving of a medal, I would think. If he was cleared, I think that probably spells bad news for Pat Lipinski. And then the other thing to consider is if they don't want a tour for Dan McStay, Jack Ginnivan could start and John Noble gets a sub role, or Noble goes straight into the starting side. So there's a little bit to play out there if they want to go smaller against the Lions. But for the Pies, all I have is Frampton in for McStay and Taylor Adams.
Yeah. I think for a grand final, I don't know how many, if you want to make a lot of changes for a grand final, clearly what they're doing is working. So how about Brisbane?
Yeah, they've got a lot to consider as well, obviously, and a lot of it's just going to hang around Jack Payne's ankle and the next few days. So he'll get Thursday's main session to prove his fitness. But even if he does, Chris Fagan doesn't like messing with the right mix. And what he got out of Darcy Gardner will certainly throw a spanner in the works because he was fantastic in Payne's absence against Carlton. Going one-on-one with Charlie Kerner is no easy job, and him working alongside Harris Andrews just looks so well, even though Garner had only played 2 games before Saturday night. So if Payne's fit, there's certainly no certainty that he comes back in, which makes it quite interesting. And Garner could hold his spot. So that's going to be a tough one. And then you kind of look at, someone like Jack Gunston is the same. Went out because of injury and now can't get back in. Yeah. Because of, the team is working so well. And I guess that's kind of what Chris Fagan doesn't want to shake up too much. So they could go in unchanged and have Jack Payne and Jack Gunston on standby.
He's got enough premiership medals anyway.
Yeah, it'd be nice if he could add one. But, exactly. I think don't want to mess with something that's working too much. Jared Lyons probably holds his sub role, and you got guys like Gunston and Payne on the sidelines, but Fort, Pryor, Rich, Tunstall will probably still be around the emergencies, and Jared Lyons is probably the guy that gets the sub role after holding in the last few weeks. So to sum up, I'm going unchanged. Whether I think even if Payne's fit, he might not get named, but it's going to be way too close to call and could be too much of a risk for the grand final. And I think with Darcy Gardner and how he performed on Saturday, he will hold his spot unchanged, and that includes Jared Lyons being the sub. Yeah,
agreed. So who are you leaning towards? It's very early days. At the moment, I'm leaning towards Collingwood just because it's at home. But who's your pick?
Yeah, I'll probably take the Pies. Lions went, I think, 0-2 at the MCG. So only 2 games at the MCG for the whole year. I think this will be Collingwood's 17th at the MCG for the year. Yeah. So that's a big difference. I think between since McRae's taken over, the Lions are 3-0, but they haven't played at the G. So you can just say it's just a ground. And it's just another game. But yeah, I'm having the Pies.
It's also the crowd. I think that's going to
It'll be significant. Like it's not going to. It's funny because everyone's there's a lot of corporate seats and a lot of neutral seats. But even last year's grand final was a very well balanced and still strong Geelong and Sydney crowd. I don't think it's going to work as evenly. It will be a lot louder for Collingwood fans. But yeah, it'll be a close game. I don't see this being a blowout. Even though we do get a lot of grand finals that are heavily one-sided, but I think Collingwood maybe a couple of goals.
Yeah, exciting stuff. Thanks, Mitch.
Thank you.
Got a lot done there. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And also, this is available as a podcast now if you prefer to listen to this rather than just watch it. So if you just search Zero Hanger AFL Podcast on all your podcast apps, it's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. And don't forget, you can catch all the latest AFL news at zerohanger.com.